blah, blah, blah. Hi, welcome to Alan Talks. I'm Alan Bernhoft, your host. Thanks for subscribing and pushing the bell and all that stuff. We have 75 billion subscribers worldwide and $980,000 billion dollars on Patreon so far. So keep sending me your money. Your money is much better off in my Patreon account than it would be in your bank account. So without further ado, I'm glad we took care of that. We're going to the Rocky Horror Show, not the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No, no. Before that movie, there was a play. Started in about 1973. A little guy named Richard O'Brien wrote a handful of songs, approached a director named Jim Sharman, who was at the time doing, I think, Jesus Christ Superstar. And they got Michael White, producer, put it up on stage at the Royal Court in London. Richard got his friend Tim Curry to play a guy named Dr. Frankenfurter. Also, they got Little Nell as Columbia, Patricia Quinn as Magenta, the whole gang. And it went really well. It was a big hit. It was the biggest thing in 1974 there in London. Then an American producer named Lou Adler, who had done Mamas and Papas, Simon and Garfunkel, all kinds of great acts, was dating a British girl, Britt Eklund, beautiful, wonderful actress. She was a Bond girl in The Man with the Golden Gun. She was a girl who does a sensual dance in the original Wicker Man, I think 73, something like that. She brings him over to London and shows him this play called The Rocky Horror Show. That night, he signs for the rights. He gets the rights from Richard O'Brien, Jim Sharman, and he grabs Tim Curry and Richard O'Brien and goes to Los Angeles, where he has this club called the Roxy, and he's been trying to figure out something to put in the Roxy on the Sunset Strip. Like I said, he brings over Tim Curry. Richard O'Brien does not play Riff Raff in the Roxy version. They get a whole new American cast, and that's where we get to my guest. My guest, Bill Miller, also known as B. Miller, was the first American Brad. He was cast in the stage version of the Rocky Horror Show and played Brad through the entire run at the Roxy in 1974. Then they moved it to the Belasco on Broadway in New York, and he was there as well that entire time, performing live on stage with Tim Curry, Meatloaf, all sorts of other people. Richard O'Brien joined them in New York on stage there. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Bill Miller, hi, how's it going? Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks. Nice to see you.
Thanks for being here. Nice to see you. Okay, we're starting right in 1974, right? They bring Rocky Horror Show to the Roxy in Los Angeles, Lou Adler and his girlfriend, Britt Eklund. Along with them, now Richard O'Brien comes, but he doesn't play Riff Raff in this version. He's there. Jim Sharman is here directing, who ended up directing the film also.
Yes.
Who else comes over from England?
Sue Blaine, the costumer. And I have to say, no one really knows who Sue Blaine is, but she invented punk wear. She invented that look that's still around today.
Yeah, she created that in 73, and punk didn't really hit till 78, 79, something like that. Sex Pistols and all that. And that whole look. So that's pretty great. And I think Sue Blaine's still around, right?
Yes.
I think she's in a couple of the documentaries. But yeah, the entire bunch of people that worked on the first chunk of the Rocky Horror Show in London, a lot of them came over and worked on the Roxy version, and they all kind of went into the film as well, which I think is why the whole thing ended up being so damn good, because they didn't just like Michael White also was a producer from early on.
Well, yeah. And also, Lou produced our show, but he made an arrangement with Michael White the night that he bought the rights. So Michael White's production was basically our production. Those are the people that came.
Okay. So this is early 74, maybe like February-ish, something like that. You're a young actor, 20. auditioning for stuff, right? Had you just done any sort of show, or you were doing TV and stuff, right?
I was doing TV and stuff, yeah. But
Okay.
I was itching to do some theater.
Ah, okay. And Lou Adler had, I think you said that he had a piece of the Roxy somehow, or
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think he's the majority owner of that venue.
yeah, still to this day, huh? So it's still there, and it's right a few doors down from the Whiskey on the Sunset Strip,
Yes.
next to the Rainbow Bar and Grill, which is also legendary. Was that around back then too, the Rainbow?
Yeah, that sure was. I mean,
Oh wow.
it all was. And I believe Lou's son runs the Whiskey today.
Oh wow,
So
cool.
it's still in the family.
What a great scene. Okay, so you're auditioning, and how do you, does your agent say, hey, there's this show that's going to happen? Or, because this seems like a perfect show for Lou to put in that
Yeah.
theater, it's rock and
Yeah,
roll.
I was fortunate. I had just met Joel Thurm, the casting director.
Okay.
I auditioned for The Who's Tommy. Some of the people that were in our cast had done that show. And Joel called me directly. I had a manager at the time. The two of us were back and forth about this, but Joel kind of called directly because of the audition I'd done for Tommy.
Okay. And then do you remember anything about the audition, like where it was and who was there?
Yeah. Well, it was
Please.
great. It was at the Charlie Chaplin Studios, which are now the Jim Henson Studios, and
Which also was
and
later
at the time,
was
it was
A&M.
the home of A&M Records, and so all of those folks were around too.
It's still there over on La Brea.
Yeah,
It's
wandering
awesome.
the hallways.
Oh yeah. It's a really, and it's haunted. But yeah, it's still, and that whole soundstage that Chaplin built there
Yeah, the
it's all
auditions
still
happened
there.
on the sound stage as well. That was
Oh, cool.
that was pretty exciting to be in Charlie Chaplin's studio.
So when you did the audition, how much did you know about it?
I knew nothing about the show, nothing at
Right.
all.
So you didn't know
Right.
Lou Adler was involved
And
because
I learned a song because I heard from Joel or somebody that it was kind of a 1950s style musical. And so I picked up a song from a musical of around that time. And I forgot it during my audition. I forgot it. And they called me up that night and said, okay, here's what we want you to sing. Teenager in Love by Dion and the Belmonts. If you get it and don't forget the words, you're in.
oh my
So,
God.
yeah, I got lucky.
Each time we have a quarrel. Okay, this is not going to be a musical podcast. Um yeah, Dion and the Belmonts, of course, Run Around Sue and all that. So you did that song for him. Now, was Lou Adler at the first audition? And did you
Sure
know it
was,
him?
yeah. He was at every audition, and I had
Did
no
you
idea
recognize
who
him?
Lou Adler was either. I
Yeah.
was pretty naive back then. Now I know a lot about
Yeah,
these people,
right.
and I love Lou Adler's work.
Oh,
But
yeah.
back then I knew nothing.
Because by that point, he had done all the 60s stuff. Simon
Yeah.
and Garfunkel, Mamas and Papas, all that stuff, right?
I
And
was really lucky, honestly, not to know who I was hanging out with or
oh, yeah.
auditioning for, because it would have scared the heck out of me to know that.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. So you get the part, and then did you get a script after that and look at it? And
Yeah, they gave me a script and gave me the option to accept or not accept.
okay.
And I was going on a walk with my sister in Santa Monica reading the script. And at one point, I just broke out laughing because
Yeah.
there was stuff that just struck me as funny. And I had no idea what a belt and suspenders were. I had no idea until we got to the first rehearsal that it was a show about a transvestite from space.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so so you accept the part, you show up at where were the rehearsals? Were you rehearsing at the Roxy?
Well, there was a little pocket theater. I think it was near Santa Monica, and it was the east side of Santa Monica, near the Hollywood Freeway.
Okay.
And it was just a little hole in the wall where the Groundlings were beginning at that time, and they would perform there. Oh, Archie Hahn, I love that guy.
Oh, cool.
Really talented comedic actor.
Right. So that's it. Wow, what a trip. And the Groundlings are, still happening as well, going strong. Um, okay, so you guys start rehearsing there. Is it like every day or what was
Yeah,
that like?
every day for like 3 weeks, and then the fourth week we went to the Roxy and rehearsed there. So we hadn't met each other, any of
Right.
us. We didn't know each other, uh, and it was pretty heady meeting some of these people. A bunch of them had just done a musical for Jim Steinman at the Public Theater in New York,
Right.
and so that was kind of fun. They had a connection already, and then that's the first time we ever met Tim. Tim showed up in full costume for the first rehearsal.
Oh, you're kidding. Tim Curry showed
Yeah,
up completely in
and at
costume?
that point it became clear what we were doing.
Right. But he didn't do that throughout rehearsals, right? Just the
No, just
beginning.
just for a couple of hours.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah,
Oh God, cool. Very cool. And Meatloaf, right? This is
yeah.
his
Meatloaf
first.
was in it, and he wasn't famous then or anything. He was
Right.
just it was a guy, and I remember he and Graham Jarvis were pretty close. They had both done this musical at the Public Theater, and the very first day they were there, being from New York, they didn't know the rules. They got a ticket for jaywalking on Hollywood Boulevard. I don't know where they were headed, but
And Graham
and
Jarvis was the narrator, right?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Graham Jarvis was the narrator.
Yeah, Graham Jarvis was the narrator. He was older than the rest of the cast, probably twice our ages,
Uh-huh.
but really a wonderful performance.
And who else was in that cast for the Roxy?
Well, there was the girl that played Janet, Abigail Hannis, and Kim Milford played Rocky. And then a couple of girls I used to kind of think of as they were sort of best friends at the time. Bonnie Enton played Columbia. And then Jamie Donnelly played Magenta. And I always used to crack up at our riffraff because he's just an absolutely brilliant actor and a wonderful singer. But at any rate,
Who was Riff Raff?
it was Bruce Scott,
Oh, okay.
whose real name is Zahari Addis. Go figure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he had to take on the name Bruce Scott because he had a career as a pop singer for a time. And if you want, you can still look him up online. He did a shindig, which is still online. You can pick it up and watch it anytime.
Oh, cool.
And it's fun to watch because you see Terry Garr dancing on
Oh,
shindig.
cool.
And,
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, Lorraine Yarnell and, Tony Basil, a whole bunch of really great dancers.
And these other people, what had they done? Like Kim Milford and what had they done?
Well, I found out after a time because they would talk about themselves. Kim Milford and Meatloaf both had contracts with Tamla Records, Motown. And Kim had been a backing singer, and so had Abigail Hannis. And then up in our pit, I know I talked to you before about you're hearing what a great sound was made live. And that in part is because we had wonderful backup singers. Susan Morse and Kim Milford had both done Sugar Sugar, which was a number one hit, I think, in '69. At any rate, they were really good singers, strong singers.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I was talking to you about the live recording that is now all over YouTube from the Belasco when you guys
Yeah,
went to Broadway. And it's red hot. You realize, because you had always told me that you weren't too crazy about the movie because you had done the live show for
yeah,
about a year and a half and it was so
yeah.
much better. And then and I've heard the soundtrack of the London version and then the soundtrack that you guys did, which we'll get to in a second. But that Belasco live recording, I mean, it's red hot. It's a rock and roll show. And you
Yeah, it
guys,
is.
especially the choruses, you're all singing live together,
Yeah.
and it's so good. It's just like, wow,
I have
and it
my theories
moves.
about the movie. I think in part, Tim is brilliant in it. I've seen him do it again and again. I've watched it over and over.
Right.
But I think the reason the movie worked in the way it did is because it was played very slowly and there was a lot of space there for people to
Yeah.
make comments from the audience. That wasn't happening live.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one great thing about the Belasco recording. The live version is there's not all the screaming back and forth, and we can hear the dialogue. And it's almost the same as the movie, but it moves quicker and there's so much energy to it, and your voice is so good and it's fantastic. And you have more songs. You have Once in a While and Superheroes, which is cut out of the most of the movie versions. But anyway, let's get back to, okay, so the Roxy, you guys are in rehearsals for how long before you put it up on stage?
Well, 4 weeks altogether.
Yeah.
It was 3 weeks in that little space, and then we moved to the Roxy and actually got to rehearse on the stage. And that was a pretty phenomenal thing to see as well. The talent of these people that built the room and the stage.
Yeah.
Was phenomenal.
Yeah. And the band
Chipmunk did all the lighting, and he's really famous for doing lots of great rock and roll shows.
A legend.
And I think he worked with Lou in Monterey, the Monterey Pop Festival. Yeah,
I think you're right.
Absolutely great. And we had people working, like one of our lighting engineers was Al Franken. I had no idea until Al invited us to a little show they were doing in New York.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you are literally the first Brad Majors in America. You're the first guy, and for a long time, you're the only guy. You're Brad Majors. So in that show, 4 weeks of rehearsal, I'm interested in everybody because they seem like fascinating people and talented, but especially Tim Curry and Meatloaf. They went on to just be, gigantic legends in entertainment. And
yes.
You're hitting with it. You guys are pretty much on the same level at this point, doing a show at the Roxy and having a good time together. What was that like? The friendships and bonds and,
Well, we didn't hang out together that much. I kind of would hang out with Meatloaf, and as I mentioned, Bonnie and Jamie would hang out together.
Right.
So the thing that was wild about it was the interest that it got from the community. It just was followed so widely.
Oh, really?
At the time, it was kind of like the happening in town, and that was a pretty cool experience.
And tell me a little about Jim Sharman directing.
Yeah, Jim Sharman was great, and he was a very organic kind of director. Our first rehearsals in New York and in Los Angeles were really improv sessions, and also just painting each other's faces, things like that, getting familiar with each other, and then he kind of began to direct as he moved closer to opening night. Then you would see what you knew was direction. He would tell you what he wanted.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, theater games and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's so great. To get everybody really going and working together. So then I guess the next step is you put it up at the Roxy. You were talking about the stage and everything. Do you remember opening night? When was that? Was that like February or March?
It was March. March. I think we did a sort of a. And it was a pre-opening the night before, like the 22nd we opened, but the 21st, which is an important date to me, that's kind of always been my lucky day, March 21st. I got married on that day. And
cool.
The show opening on the 22nd was wild because all of Lou's friends were there. And this is just going to become a name-dropping session, I think.
That's all right.
But it was pretty great to see all of his friends there. Carole King would come very often, and she was one of the nicest people I've ever met. Just a wonderful person.
Unreal.
And the opening night, John Lennon was there with Mick Jagger, and then of course Jack Nicholson was there because they were already close. He and Lou.
Oh, that's right.
So it was kind of heady for me anyway.
Yeah.
I tried to ignore it as best I could.
Right, but early 70s, Los Angeles, film and theater and music all smashed up together. How great is that? Okay, so you open and immediately it's just out of the park, right? It's a
Yeah,
home run.
yeah. You knew you were in a hit right away.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah,
And
there
then
was no question.
how many shows a week? What was that like?
Well, it was 8 shows a week, and I loved
Eight?
I loved that. You do 2 shows on Saturday night and 2 shows on Sunday night, and by the eighth show, you were just dead tired. And I always found that would make for the best performance because you were so tired, you weren't judging yourself and others around you. You would just let it go.
Yeah.
And so and it was just an unbelievable experience to go with Tim Curry 8 shows a night, toe to toe.
Yeah.
I mean, what a wonderful actor he is.
Yeah. Yeah. And even back then, like it was just like fantastic. I mean, obviously he was great in it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, he started when he was 14. He got trained in a system in Europe, in England, UK, when he starting at 14. So he really knew what he was doing by the time he showed up. I think he was about, 28 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, okay, so lines around the block, sold out, 8 shows a week, you're just going. And you're what, 20, 21, something like that?
Yeah.
And then, so then the soundtrack happens, right? Is that around then when you guys, Lou Adler decides to record your version, the Roxy version of the soundtrack, which is still out there and still legendary. And of course, Lou Adler brings in the Wrecking Crew, who he's used throughout the 60s for all these hit records that he produced.
Right.
And Monterey Pop, right? And so you get to work with Hal Blaine. There's Hal Blaine on, among others, the great
Hal Blaine,
the great drummer.
come on, it was Tommy. I'm going to go in the order I could see them from the window. Tommy Tedesco, then Dean Parks playing guitar, and then one of my favorite guitarists is Danny Korchmar, who everybody called Cooch. Yeah. And Danny was the third guitarist there playing the leads. And then Larry Knechtel, I really couldn't see. He was behind a wall.
Was
then
he
I
on
could look out and
keyboard or
see Hal
bass?
Blaine. He was amazing.
Yeah.
And then David Foster also played the show live, and he played on the album as well. He played organ.
No kidding. The David Foster.
Yeah. Yeah, the producer,
wow.
David Foster. And also, Devon Pershing was the musical director, and he played on the album as well, some keyboard parts.
Yeah.
Because he did all the arrangements.
And Larry Knechtel later, of course, was with Bread. I mean, half the Wrecking Crew went out to do other things. Leon Russell. Also, my indie film that I mentioned earlier, the Jekyll and Hyde rock musical, there's Hal Blaine right there. He did a cameo for us in the movie. So there's Hal Blaine, my drumming hero, who I became friends with and became a mentor. Anyway, he funniest, coolest guy in the world.
Yeah,
so
I'll never forget that Hal always had that set of toms that he purchased. So he added 4 toms.
The monster kit.
And he did do a fill where he played every tom he had in the show. It was just unbelievable because he would tune his toms, as you know. What song would he use, Alan?
I got rhythm. I got Gershwin. Maybe music.
Oh, yeah?
Bum, bum, bum. Who could ask for anything more? It's so funny. It's hilarious. Yeah.
What a player.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was on everything for a couple of decades. Just, pretty much known as the greatest drummer in the world.
Yeah, but
anyway, so what were those sessions? What do you remember
nobody can lay down a groove like Hal and Ringo Starr.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree. Yeah.
they could just lay down a groove like nobody's business.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Keith Moon was also one of your
He
regulars
was
at the
brilliant.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that showed up. Um, so what are your memories of those sessions? Like, how were you guys recording the sessions while you're still doing 8 shows a week?
Well, we did it the old-fashioned way. We did it like we were doing a Sunday night show. Uh, kind of went through every tune one after the
Yeah,
after the other after the other, and then we'd come in afterward and do more singing.
yeah,
And then we had, as I mentioned, we had so many backing singers. They would all come and do their sessions as well.
yeah.
So that's pretty much how he did it. He did it, and Lou was hardly ever there. He would have someone else record everything, and then he'd come in and do stuff that I would never get to see him do. We'd make decisions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. Now, also, the musical director from the original London version, Richard Hartley, who had a lot to do with the writing and arranging of the original bunch of songs. Because you can hear Richard O'Brien's demo on YouTube and stuff. I think he had 6 or 7 songs in the beginning, and they're great, but they're super simple and basic. And Richard Hartley kind of expanded everything and arranged it. Did he come over for the Roxy version
He
also?
didn't. We never really saw Richard. Do you know Richard's background? Because I'm not exactly
No,
certain.
but I
Was he
know
part of
he was part
Superstar
of
and
the
all that
film
stuff?
as well. I'm not sure about that. I do know a bunch of those guys were working on Jesus Christ Superstar and Hair, and that's where a lot of the guys met. And
Yeah,
I think Jim Sharman and Richard O'Brien originally met at an audition, but Richard O'Brien didn't get the part, but they stayed friends, like you auditioning for Tommy. And then,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You made that
yeah,
connection because they thought in their head, okay, I got to remember this guy.
yeah.
Um, so you do the soundtrack. The soundtrack album is out in stores probably pretty quick, right? And you've got this hit show on stage. This is March, April, May, several
Yeah.
months of this going by. And then when, because before you split and close the Roxy and go to New York, Tim and Meatloaf split to go do the movie, right?
Yeah, they
With
stayed for about 6 months and then they went and made the movie. And at the same time, I lost my Janet Abigail Hannis, who had to have surgery,
Okay,
and Beverly Bremers came in.
okay.
She had done Hair and had a hit record. She's a vocal coach these days.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
anyway, it was about 6 months, I guess, and then we were without them for 3 or 4 months. Meatloaf came back and saw us all. Tim, I didn't see until we got to New York.
Okay, so Tim
After
came
that,
back as Frankenfurter at the Belasco in New York.
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
so
and
who
when
sat
Tim
in when
left,
Tim?
Paul Jabara took over. The songwriter Paul Jabara, who also directed Hair in Europe and throughout Europe, and had a connection to the show in that way.
So
Um,
Paul took over for Tim Curry at the
yes,
Roxy.
yeah,
Interesting, interesting, very
yeah.
cool. So he was the first Frankenfurter sub.
Yeah, there was an understudy who did a lot of performances, Alan Martin, who would sing with the people up in the pit. Uh, but yeah, it was a kind of a hard ride getting Paul into the show
Yeah,
because we kind of had expectations. Paul had never been exposed to the show before, and of course, uh, Alan Martin had been with the show all along, so he had kind of adapted a lot of things that Tim was doing. He gave it his own kind of turn, but
right.
you know, it was hard. It was hard replacing Tim.
Oh yeah, no kidding. My God, you know.
Yeah.
Um, wow. Uh, so you guys wrap it up at the Roxy, and this is probably fall of 74.
It was around Christmas, or it
Okay.
was late in the season,
So
and
the
then
entire
we met
19,
again in New York in February.
Okay.
and started rehearsing, and didn't have the same kind of success we in New York that we had in Los Angeles.
Right. At the
Los Angeles, that
Belasco.
venue was built for what we used it as.
Yes.
It was first a nightclub, and it had a kitchen very close to the floor.
Yeah.
And they tried to take a Broadway theater and do the same thing with it. And people of New York did not appreciate that.
Right.
So we had a hard time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now the movie, was it already released at that point? I'm not
No,
sure.
they had just finished the movie, and
Okay.
I think they were still working on it as we were
Okay.
doing the show.
Okay. And so Tim Curry and Meatloaf are back on, right?
Yes.
In New York at the
and of
Belasco.
course, Richard O'Brien joined us as Ritz O'Brien.
And then Richard O'Brien, right.
Yeah.
Now, you had an interesting story, I remember one time, about him being mugged or in Central Park.
Yeah, in New York, he was in Central Park, and some sailors came up to him and started to bug him because they could tell he was not a normal guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. And so he turned and started growling at them, and they got so scared they ran away.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It was terrific.
Well, that's a good ending.
Yeah.
So then,
by the way, I forgot to mention, Tim told me once, and I thought this was kind of interesting. He had done some show with Richard in London. I think it was Superstar. And Richard just showed up at his house with a copy of the script and said, I've written a part for you. And Tim was like, oh, no, this is never going to work. And, it turned out to be something that defined him.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw an interview where he said almost exactly what you said. He said that he had read it, and it just made him laugh out loud, know? And you think about that, and the original intent of kind of lampooning those old sci-fi movies and horror movies that we all loved, and mixing it with the glam rock that was happening at the time. We don't really think of it that way, but when you guys were at 73, 74, you've got big time David Bowie, T-Rex, they're still happening, Alice Cooper here, and everything else that was happening in that glam scene, Martha Hoople, which was real big it was big here, but it was really big in England. And the fact that they just kind of combined two simple, cool things, and it just worked so well,
Yeah.
But so then, so you're doing it in New York. Anyway, even though the reviews were not so great and it wasn't, whatever, still, New York, 1975, 21 years, what was that like? I mean, did you guys party with Andy Warhol? I mean,
Only in that we went to discos, which were really starting to take root then.
Right.
And those people would show up all the time. So in a sense, we were partying with them, but it's not like they were following the show. I think the only person that really appreciated the show when we went to New York was Walter Winchell, who's probably too old for most of the people listening to this little thing to even know, because he was a good 25, 30 years older than me.
And kind of a conservative dude too, right? I mean, wow. Not conservative like what they are today, but as far as so.
Well, let's put it this way. You think of Walter Winchell in a fedora hat.
Yeah. So did you guys, did you guys go out together, the cast? Were you like hanging and kind of, did you get known there like you were known in LA?
No, but we did hang out even more in New York than we did in Los Angeles.
Right.
I really enjoyed that time.
Yeah.
Because we'd all pile in cars and there'd be too many, we'd be like clowns in a car going someplace we wouldn't know where.
Yeah.
And it was always good fun.
Yeah, after the show, right?
Yeah. And there were good things on Broadway at that time that we got to go see. sometimes we'd get invited to things and I'd be like, oh, I'm tired. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
finished Sunday night. And I didn't go see a couple of things that turned out to be quite brilliant. But
yeah.
I saw a few shows at that time that were, real great examples of fine acting.
Wow. So as far as the cultural scene and filmed TV, music, and everything that was happening, um, more name dropping, please. I guess is what I'm
Oh,
asking.
okay.
So I mean, was Bowie around and people like
Yeah,
that?
Bowie was around, but not as much as you would think, because he actually was a personal friend of Tim Curry's.
Oh,
He had
really?
been attracted to the show while it was in London, and apparently Freddie Mercury was as well, and
Oh,
other people that sort of related to the subject matter. Um, and we didn't see them that much, although we had some of Bowie's musicians in our pit in New York, which was pretty phenomenal. Michael Garson was our music director at first. He calls
right,
himself Mike Garson now. I'm not sure why, but he does.
right.
Anyway, he and Carlos Alomar, who wrote uh, the chord changes and stuff to Fame,
Fame
co-wrote that song
with
with
John
Bowie
Lennon
and
and
Lennon.
yeah.
So, we got exposed to a lot of that. Uh,
Wow. So that's sort of his musicians at that point. Uh, well, he was doing Fame, right? That was Bowie's first number one hit in America, I think. So it's
yeah, that
so that's
kind
that
of
bunch of
broke a little
musicians.
after we finished
Okay.
in New York. But yeah, a bunch of the guys in the pit had worked on that album at Electric Lady.
Yeah. And
I
then
didn't really know that until I ran into Carlos Alomar and his wife, Robin, Robin Clark, who's a really renowned backing singer.
yeah.
And they told me about what they'd been working on, and I had no idea. It was pretty phenomenal to meet them. And then also, one thing that was really funny is they fired Michael Garson, which I didn't understand. He's one of my favorite pianists,
Yeah.
but they fired him for some reason. They thought he maybe was a little too refined or played too much like someone who played in a club or something. And so they had to replace him for us to do some rehearsals. And they replaced him with Luther Vandross, who had no fame at that time. He was just a musician
Unreal.
who was in a group with Carlos.
Luther
Uh,
Vandross playing piano
yeah,
with the Rocky Horror Show
yeah,
on Broadway. I mean, that's just the greatest. Now, was there a whole like Andy Warhol? I mentioned him before, sort of scene, that sort of New York Andy Warhol, Lou Reed kind of
yeah.
thing.
Well, definitely in the clubs, because
Yeah,
Andy Warhol was known for frequenting clubs and being a part of the nightlife.
right.
So he would always show up with Bianca Jagger and his group of friends. Uh, I never sat and talked to the guy, but he had a lot of influence on a lot of people like Bowie,
Yeah.
tremendous influence on him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Bowie later played him in a movie. It's pretty cool. Um, a movie about the artist Basquiat. I think I said that right. So anyway, any other? How long did you guys go at the Belasco? Couple of
Well, I
months
just
or
read about it yesterday. Only 45 days.
45 days?
Yeah, and that to
All
us
right,
was a real disappointment.
right. Compared to Roxy, right?
But
Yeah,
we had good fun.
yeah. Okay, and so that wraps up, and you kind of all say bye bye, right? After this
Yeah.
amazing, magical couple of years that happened, And then
Yes.
was it after that that the movie finally came out?
Yeah. The movie came out quite a bit after, and and was a success.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
no, it
really
flopped at
only kind
first.
of stayed connected to Meatloaf. Uh, Almost everybody else had their own direction to go, uh,
You
whether
said
it
you ran
was they
into
were
Meatloaf again,
going to get
right?
married or whatever. But
Yeah.
but Meatloaf, I don't know why I had a connection with him. For instance, one day I was walking down the street in New York. I had moved there, and something in my head said, "Go to the park, you'll see Meatloaf." So I went to the park, and there he was. playing softball. And
Wow.
what was funny is I had changed my name at the time. I'd been told by an agent that I had to change my name because it was so common. Uh, but I changed my first name to Michael, and Meatloaf says to me, "Hey, do I have to call you Michael?" And then I found out a few years before he passed, he also changed his name to Michael. So I don't know why I had a connection to him.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, the other question I had was, did you ever cross paths with Barry Bostwick?
Yeah, I did. I worked at his house. I was a carpenter,
Oh, no
and
way.
yeah, I worked at his house for many months, and we got to know each other fairly well. And he gave me his impressions of his experience with Rocky Horror. And unfortunately, we did play this role where we were to add to the comedy, we had to play it pretty straight,
Hmm.
and so people got the impression that that's who we were, which is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Uh, and because we were the kind of people that didn't party every night and do drugs and all that kind of stuff, um,
Right.
people just thought we were kind of square, and that was also his experience.
So did he originally watch you on stage?
Yeah, I knew he got the part because he came like for 2.5, 3 weeks every show.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and so I knew he had the part. And then I found out that Susan Sarandon had gotten Janet. So they needed
Oh,
someone older. And Barry is about 10 years older than I am.
right. Right. And Susan, amazing, you know. And then, of course, Patricia Quinn and came from, and Little Nell came from the show
Yeah.
in London, which they were still doing when Tim came here to the Roxy. Some other guy took over Frankenfurter there, and I guess they're still going. I'm not sure if they're still doing it there or not. So,
Yeah, I saw it in London, and it was pretty interesting. They did it in an old movie theater,
yeah,
which was a pretty great venue for them. It all started out on the top of a little theater on the top of a larger theater.
like an attic. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So so then that kind of like wrapped it up for you. You guys, you saw Meatloaf again one time in New York, and then you were still in touch with a couple of the girls from your Roxy cast, though, right? Or you were?
Yeah, only because I knew that, and this was kind of an amazing thing to me. When Tim got ill and had a stroke,
Yeah.
uh, girls from our cast were the ones who took care of him. They nursed him back to some health.
Oh man.
Uh, and
Wow.
yeah, that was pretty moving to find out that they had all done
It's
that.
that family thing, man. That thing
Yeah,
about, acting and music. You know that because we've both been in lots of bands and we've both been in lots of shows and stuff and film and everything. And it's just you create these little families. And I don't know about you, but I don't burn bridges and I stay in touch with so many people because I love that relationship.
yeah.
That creativity is phenomenal. But yeah, so, any other like thoughts or anything before we wrap it up? Like, anybody from that Roxy cast that you're still in touch with, or that you have anything else to say about? Or
Well, I'm really not in touch with them so much because most of them were in music, rock and roll, which
yeah,
is not the direction I took at all. But I'm still very, very fond of all of them.
right,
Uh, and we've lost a few, and
yeah,
it's
oh yeah,
been it's been
a
hard to
lot,
take.
yeah,
But you
yeah,
know, no, we don't really stay in touch. I have my
okay.
own life now.
Yeah, the main thing, well, you've been doing a lot of casting as well, right? But you've been doing a lot of children's music and children's books, correct?
Right.
Yeah. And
And
same with me.
I did that along with casting for a long time.
Right.
And I've since sort of retired and just work on children's material at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure why I was drawn to it, other than having my own children
Right.
and having a relationship with my wife, who's a wonderful singer.
Yeah,
And
Terry, we have to mention, because that's one of our favorite voices on the planet Earth. Besides being
yeah,
a great lady and a great singer, we
yeah,
both really love her voice. There's a handful
yeah.
of female singers that I have worked with, that I'm friends with, that I feel that way about, and hers it's just like a bell. It's amazing. It blows
I
me
know.
away and makes me think I cannot sing. This is a person that was born singing. But yeah, you guys have a lot of stuff out, a lot of CDs out, and they're fantastic. I love the stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Well, we're about to go back to work. We've been in a writing phase for the last year or so.
Well,
But
send it to me. You know what to do. Send it to me, and I'll mess with the EQ and send it back.
great.
You know,
Okay. Sounds
as
good.
as I'm known to do.
My favorite story doing children's music was we were recording with Art Dragon, who's the director of music at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And Art listened to Terry sing for like 3 or 4 bars and said, "You're my favorite singer on the West Coast."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Took no time at all.
Yeah. She's great. Well, tell her hi, give her a big hug, and thanks for your time. This was pretty cool.
Sure.
It actually went by quick, but I really wanted to cover this story. And your perspective of this story is so phenomenal. The first American Brad, the second guy in the universe to do the role of Brad Majors, and the memories and the stories you just bring us into those moments, into that time, and it's just phenomenal. When I edit this, I'm gonna try to find really cool shots of you guys. There's more and more stuff online. The further we get away from it, the more stuff seems to appear
That's
online
weird.
of you guys live at the Roxy, but also just the different people we've talked about. I want to find some shots of everybody, from Bowie to David Foster to,
Yeah.
everybody else, Larry Knechtel, all these different people and everything they've
Yeah.
done. But anyway, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for your time. And it
Sure.
was
Thank
really
you,
fun
Alan.
doing it. And it's great also to see you. I mean, we talk and message and all that stuff all the time, but it's rare that you, at this point, to see you in the flesh, because we don't see each other.
No, I live way up here in Washington.
You live way up there. I'm down here in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for coming. And I think this is called Alan Talks. And we just reached 754 billion members. Thank you for the Patreon. We made $750 million off just this one show. So we're kind of happy about that. Not really. That's a drop in the bucket to us, because we're rich and famous, gigantic, worldwide, international stars.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Sorry. I'm just
I don't
BS.
either. And now that we're wrapping up, I'm just thinking about a nap.
Yeah. I would, but I downed a whole boatload of coffee before we started.
Uh-oh.
Just so I didn't nod off into a nap land.
Hope you can sleep tonight.
Okay, thanks, man. We're wrapping it up. That's it. Thanks, everybody. It was
All
super
right.
cool. And we're ending, and then I'm going to take a look at it all.
Blah, blah, blah.